Hey guys, I'm MACKdaTRUCK. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Today we're going to be reading more of The Frog and Toad Are Friends by R. Lovell. We're going to be reading the second chapter of this wonderful book called The Story. We read the spring already. Now we're going to read the story. If you want to know what else is coming, is a lost button, a swim, and the letter. So let's jump ahead all the way to our page. Whoops, too far. The story. I'm going to read it in the voices for you. Okay? One day in summer, Frog was not feeling well. Toad said, "Frog, you are looking quite green." "But I always look green. I'm a frog." "Today you look very green even for a frog," said Toad. "Get into my bed and rest." Toad made Frog a cup of hot tea. Very nice. Frog drank the tea and then said, "Tell me a story while I'm resting." "All right," said Toad. "Let me think of a story to tell you." Toad thought and thought, but he couldn't think of a story to tell Frog. "I will go out on the front porch and walk up and down," said Toad. "Perhaps that will help me think of a story." Toad walked up and down on the porch for a long time. He could not think of a story to tell Frog. Then Toad went into the house and stood on his head. "Why are you standing on your head?" asked Frog. "I hope that if I stand on my head, it will help me to think of a story," said Toad. Toad stood on his head for a long time, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. Then Toad poured a glass of water over his head. "Why are you pouring water over your head?" asked Frog. I hope that if I pour water over my head, it will help me to think of a story," said Toad. Toad poured many glasses of water over his head, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. Then Toad began to bang his head. Dum, dum, dum. "Why are you banging your head against the wall?" asked Frog. "I hope that if I bang my head against the wall hard enough, it will help me to think of a story," said Toad. "I'm feeling much better now, Toad," said Frog. "I don't think I need a story anymore." "Then get out of my bed and let me get into it," said Toad, "because now I feel terrible." Frog said, "Would you like me to tell you a story, Toad?" "Yes," said Toad, "if you know one." "Once upon a time," said Frog, "there were two good friends, a frog and a toad. Then the frog wasn't feeling good, and he asked his friend the toad to tell him a story. Then Toad could not think of a story. He walked up and down the porch, and he could not think of a story. He stood on his head, but he could not think of a story. He poured water on his head, but he could not think of a story. He banged his head against the wall, but he couldn't think of a story. And Toad did not feel so well, and the frog was feeling better. So the Toad went to bed, and the frog got up and told him a story. The end. "How was that, Toad?" said Frog. But Toad did not answer. He had fallen asleep. The end of that story, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. I've been MACKdaTRUCK. I'll hope to see you guys next time. Make sure you guys hit the like and the follow button and the subscribe. So I'll see you guys next time. The next one is this one, which is called The Lost Button. We have more stories to come. We'll see you guys soon.